The Latin King's chief, known as Kato, loved his queen, Valerie, and she loved one of the Flores twins. By the time she was 21, Valerie Gaitan was dating a well-connected cocaine trafficker named Valentino Reveles, whom she married in 1997. A year later, Reveles was arrested on drug charges and she filed for divorce, while he was in custody. Valerie started dating Rudy Kato Rangel, the feared then leader of the Latin King Street gang. According to court records, Reveles began cooperating with authorities and told them about Valerie's involvement in his drug trade, including coming along with him on transactions of multiple kilos of cocaine at a Dominick's grocery store parking lot, and helping launder proceeds through structured bank deposits and money orders. Reveles also told a federal grand jury that he took Valerie on trips to Hawaii, Miami, and Las Vegas, giving her $10,000 in cash to gamble at casinos, and up to $5,000 at a time to just carry around, federal court records show. Valerie was indicted on money laundering charges related to Reveles' operation in December 2000. Her attorney later wrote in a court filing that investigators had approached her and tried to get her to cooperate against her new love interest, Kato, but she refused. By the time Valerie pleaded guilty in 2001 and was sentenced to 5 months in prison, she had already married Kato in a private civil ceremony. She was still on home detention the next year, when she asked the judge for permission to remove her ankle monitor for a wedding ceremony with Kato at the Sofitel Hotel on Chicago's Magnificent Mile on November 23, 2002, which featured a dinner and dancing reception for 200 guests, including Kato's good friend, DMX, in the Grand Ballroom. It is the hope of the defendant to not have an electronic monitor on her ankle when she renews her wedding vow and hosts a wedding reception with her family and friends, her lawyer wrote. The judge granted the request. 5 months later, Kato was murdered at a West Side barbershop, in what authorities have said was a contract killing by the Vice Lords. In previous videos, we have shown where Martise Nunnery, a ranking member of the unknown Vice Lords, heard about the contract put on Kato's life from a high-ranking member of the conservative Vice Lords. Martise Nunnery organized the hit, which was executed by LeBar Bro Man Span and his faction of a renegade set of Four Corner Hustlers. According to Martise Nunnery's testimony during the Four Corner Hustlers RICO trial, Margarito Flores Jr., who was known as Junior or J, and his twin brother Pedro, who was called Pete, P, or Twin, put $200,000 on Kato's head because he stole over 100 kilos of cocaine from them. Whether that's true or not is irrelevant, because that's what the killers believed when they conspired to kill Kato in 2003. 5 years earlier in 1998, according to Pedro's testimony at the El Chapo trial, 17-year-old twin brothers from a neighborhood in Chicago called Little Village began building a drug empire.
All rise.
Please bring in the jury. All right, everyone be seated. The government may now call its next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The government calls Pedro Flores.
Pedro Flores, called as a witness, having first been duly sworn and affirmed, was examined and testifies as follows.
Yes, I do.
Please state and spell your name, for the record.
Pedro Flores. Pedro Flores.
You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Flores, where were you born?
Chicago, Illinois.
How old are you?
I'm 37 years old.
What languages do you speak?
English and Spanish.
And you'll be testifying in what language today?
English.
What's the highest level of education that you've attained?
I had a semester at community college.
You graduated high school?
Yes.
Sir, are you currently in custody?
Yes, I am.
And why are you in custody?
I pled guilty to drug trafficking.
And did you get caught?
No, sir, I turned myself in.
How long have you been in custody?
Just over 10 years.
When did you turn yourself in?
On November 30th, 2008.
Sir, you said you pled guilty. Did you admit you were a drug trafficker?
Yes, I did.
How much drugs did you admit dealing in?
Over 60 tons of cocaine and other drugs.
What were the other drugs?
Heroin and methamphetamines.
Was there a person or group who's the source of the majority of those drugs you acknowledged dealing?
Yes.
What's that?
The Sinaloa cartel and the man.
The man?
Yeah.
What man?
Mr. Guzman.
Do you know his first name?
Yes, it's Joaquin.
Sorry?
Joaquin.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Could you describe an article of clothing that he's wearing?
He's wearing a black suit.
We'll stipulate he can identify Joaquin Guzman.
The witness can identify the defendant.
Now, what efforts did you make, after turning yourself in, to try to reduce the amount of prison time that you were facing?
I continued to cooperate with the U.S. government.
Now, you said you continued to cooperate. Were you cooperating even before you turned yourself in?
Yes, I was.
We'll get to that in a moment. How did it come to pass that you cooperated with the United States government?
In early 2008, I reached out to the DEA through my lawyer.
And what did you? What message did you send?
That I wanted to make a deal. I wanted to come in.
Now, let me take you back. How did you get your start in drug trafficking?
I was around 7 or 8 years old when I began to assist my father in his drug trafficking business by translating, during his drug deals, and helping him to load and unload cars with drugs.
Were there other siblings of yours that were also in the drug business?
Yes, all my siblings, my brothers.
Let's move to a little bit forward into 1998. What changed then?
Well, my older brother was arrested for drug trafficking, which allowed me and my twin brother to step up, and we began to supply his customers with cocaine.
The Flores twins were born in 1981 in a Chicago neighborhood known as Little Village, which has long had deep roots and ties into both the Mexican drug cartels and the Latin King Street gang. Their father was arrested for drug trafficking by the feds, while their mother was pregnant with them, so he was absent from their lives for the first 7 years. They learned the drug game from their old man, but he was back on the radar of the feds when the twins were 11 or 12, and he fled with his family to Mexico. The year is 1993, and the twins' older brother, Armando, was already a high-ranking member of the Latin Kings. Armando continued to live in the family home in Chicago. Meanwhile, another high-ranking Latin king, Kato, caught a case for busting his gun in 1993 and would not return home from prison until 1997 or 1998. After a year in Mexico, the twins missed the only home they had ever known, so their parents allowed them to move back to Chicago. Armando was very protective of his younger brothers. He tried to shield them from gang life, but the twins lived in the homies' hangout spot. There was a lot of money, bad bitches, blunts, and cocaine in their crib during their early high school years. After Armando got locked up in 1998, the 17-year-old twins briefly worked at McDonald's before taking over the family business. The Flores twins were affiliated to the Latin Kings through their brother, but they were drug dealers, not gang bangers. In 1998, Valerie Gaitan divorced Valentino Reveles and started dating Kato, who was both a drug dealer and a gang banger. Around this time, Damian Cash was a mixtape DJ affiliated with the Latin Kings, making drug dealer money when he met the Flores twins at Hoops the Gymnasium, the now demolished spot to play basketball on the city's near West Side if you were Michael Jordan, R. Kelly, or a visiting NBA player trying to find a good pickup game. It used to cost like $100 an hour to play ball. So, if you were a baller and played for 3 or 4 hours and then ate a meal at a nice restaurant downtown, do the math. Damian Cash was the only Spanish dude playing on the court with R. Kelly and a bunch of other black guys, so he caught the attention of the Flores twins, who were playing on the next court. After Damian's team lost, he was on the sidelines waiting to get in another game when someone asked him to play a quick game on the court with the twins. Damian said that nobody on the court was any good, but they kept betting thousands of dollars on the game, so he knew what time it was. Damian also knew that the feds were closing in on him for bootlegging. They were about to give him the DJ drama treatment. So, Damian Cash accepted the twins' offer when they told him they could give him work at a really low price. The twins then introduced Damian to Kato. Kato began investing his money into Damian Cash's record label, Dinero Records. Through his relationship with Dinero Records, Kato met DMX, Kanye West, and Fat Joe. We'll let Damian Cash tell you about meeting Kato and Valerie in the late 1990s or early 2000s, then we'll let Fat Joe tell his story about Kato and Valerie during the same time period after that. We'll let Pedro Flores testify about the expansion of his drug business from 1998 through 2002.
You know, it was kind of like a crossroads for me. You know, the twins started off by buying a box of CDs off me, which I thought was weird. I only had like 4 or 5 different titles, and there's, you know, a couple hundred CDs in there. I sell them to them for $5 a wop, which is what I sell them to the stores for. I make a quick rack. I think nothing of it. Out comes Kato and Val from the gym. I'm like, who's that? And I'm like, oh, that's Kato. I'm like, oh, I sold him some CDs before. They're like, yeah, he's a Trumbull 2-5, and that's his girl. Don't look at her though, you know. He'll get pissed off. He's very overprotective of her. And at this point, one of the twins in the back gets to commenting about personal things with this woman. You know, I put all this shit together long after this all went down, and you know, my personal belief is that, you know, they had something going on. You know, he commented on the texture of her skin and how soft it was, and this, that, and the third, like he had been intimate with her. This is prior to me meeting Kato. And I didn't think nothing of it until long after and everything happened with them. But my first job with them was to come on board, sit Kato down, let him cool off, and I would take care of his runs for him. Basically be a ghost for him. And you know, I needed to make good money. I was making really good money off of CDs, and that was being taken from me. So I decided to say, fuck it, let's do it. And at first I had no communications with Kato. I worked for the twins, and you know, everything was smooth, everything went well. I started making decent money, and I would hang out with them. We'd go eat places and hang out and talk and do all types of shit, you know, go paintballing, hoops, go eat at fancy dinners, meet people. And I started noticing things started to get heavy and thicker and deeper and, you know, more risque. And around the same time, I believe there was friction between Kato and the twins' relationship, and how much they were controlling what he was doing and his clients and who he had under him, and he didn't like that. I mean, as no man really wants no other man to kind of over their business. So he started to look for work elsewhere. You know, he found a couple of other different connections and started to try to part ways with them.
When I met Kanye West, I see Kato, they like 20 deep. And they fuck, you know, they used to feed all the black niggas, you know, they was the biggest connect. They got killed by El Chapo. Real talk. Directly. You know, they said that's how big he was. He was the English speaking nigga for Chapo in America. And the nigga turned around and he got this one black dude with him. So I said, yo, Kato, man, who's the black dude with you? It's Kanye West, he's a producer. Yo, Kanye, put my bags over there, this, that. Nigga, Kanye West, when I met him, he was carrying his Louis luggage, putting it over this Louis Vuitton Don, my nigga. He was like, he's a producer, I bought him a bunch of equipment and shit, he does the beats. But, you know, you can't run Chicago and your gun don't go off. Like, it must be legendary out there, right? But, you know, we read through the lines, we mind our business. I got a concert, they waiting for me at the hotel. I pull up, it's about 100 niggas. I drive up, it's 100 niggas. Then it's his wife. His wife was the first bitch to have the fake titties, ass slim. Bitch was like a wide body kid like this with a pasties on her nipples. And I'm like, yo, okay, you know you when you try to act like you don't see it. Oh, what the fuck is yo, nigga? Kill us, nigga. Like, get the fuck over here, man. Don't look at her for shit. Like she knew, yo, she had the nipple rings, nigga. Oh, was like, man. Don't look over there. Don't look over there. too. We all dressed up in white. We did it big. Allen Iverson is in there. Kato's in there one deep with his wife. This nigga AI was going crazy. This when AI was like LeBron James.
Yeah.
Right? He was like, oh no, I got to have her. I got to this. I got to that.
God.
Oh my God, this. I had to pull him in the corner and say, my man.
So, what did you and your brother do from then on, that period of time in 1998?
We continued to sell drugs and grow our customer base in, around, Chicago.
Let's start with that. Skip ahead to the 2001-2002 timeframe. Give us a sense of what your cocaine business was like at that time?
I began to expand pretty quickly. We began to receive hundreds of kilos of cocaine at a time.
Do you know a man named Guadalupe or Lupe Ledesma?
Yes, I do.
Who is that?
He was associates of my father. I was introduced to him in around that time, 2001, 2002.
And did he have an offer for you and your twin brother, Margarito?
Yes, he did.
What was that?
He offered us 3 things. That he can supply us with unlimited amounts of cocaine. That he could give us the best quality cocaine. And that he could beat any price of the cocaine that we were purchasing at the time, at $1,000.
Did you accept Lupe Ledesma's offer?
Yes, I did.
Did you know at the time who he was working for?
No, I didn't.
Did you later find out?
Yes.
Who told you who was Lupe Ledesma's boss?
The man, El Chapo.
By 2002, the Flores twins had a direct drug connect with El Chapo. According to Damian Cash, by 2002, Kato had separated his drug business from the twins' drug empire. Kato renewed his wedding vows to Valerie in November 2002. Kato was murdered 5 months later, in April 2003. 5 months after that, in September 2003, Valerie went on a luxurious, all-expense-paid vacation to Las Vegas, for the Oscar de la Hoya vs Shane Mosley title fight with Margarito Flores, his twin brother Pedro, Pedro's future wife, Viviana Lopez, and others. Valerie and Viviana had a lot in common besides fucking a Flores twin. Both were daughters of Chicago cops. In high school, Valerie Guyton dated an insane disciple nicknamed Oso, before marrying drug dealer Valentino Rivelas at a young age and divorcing him to marry Kato. In high school, Viviana Lopez, who lived in Little Village before her family moved to West Lawn, dated Keith Herrera, a former officer with the Elite Special Operations Section, who pleaded guilty to robbing drug dealers at the direction of his friend and mentor, Officer Jerome Finnegan. Jerome Finnegan is one of the racist cops in this picture. The defenseless black man, lying on his belly, forced to wear deer antlers by fucking pig cops, was named Michael Spann. Michael was murdered in a drive-by shooting in 2007. In a series of coincidences that can't be made up, Michael Spann's older brother was Labar Bro Man Spann, the leader of the Four Corner Hustlers that killed Kato. Finnegan was sentenced in 2011 to 12 years in federal prison for bribery, and a murder for hire plot. Vivian's high school boyfriend, Officer Keith Herrera, wore a wire, and caught Jerome Finnegan on tape conspiring to kill another police officer, who Finnegan thought might snitch on him. Finnegan's brother is married to Viviana Lopez's sister, Bianca. In 2021, Bianca Finnegan, Armando Flores, Viviana Lopez, and Valerie Guyton were all indicted on money laundering charges, related to hiding millions of the twins' dollars, from the government. So, now we all know how the story ends. Let's go back to the year 2003, and let me know in the comments section whether you think the Flores twins put out a hit to kill Kato. After the fight in September, Margarito and Valerie took another vacation, this time to Mexico. They decided to stay, after Pedro felt the heat from the feds, and escaped to Mexico with Viviana, before his imminent arrest on a drug trafficking indictment. The twins' 5-year run as drug lords in Chicago was over, but their drug empire in Chicago continued to grow, as they conducted business from Mexico. Please, put some pressure on that like button and subscribe, if you've enjoyed our show. On our next program, we'll detail the lives of the Flores twins in Mexico, from 2003, to when they meet El Chapo in 2005.
Please let me